Welcome back to People to People. How well are the students in your life reading? Studies reveal that the reading level a student reaches in the 4th grade is a predictor for success in other areas of their lives. Join us to talk about how turning the literacy numbers around will improve the quality of life for all Chicagoans are Allison Hanold, Partnerships Director, Chicago Literacy Alliance, and Nina Kraus, a neurobiologist from Northwestern University's Auditory Neuroscience Laboratory. That's a mouthful. But you do such good work. Are the numbers startling right now? Where do we look as far as our school kids?
Absolutely. At the Chicago Literacy Alliance, we believe that the most important things you can be are fed, clothed, sheltered, ideally healthy, and the next most important thing you can be is literate. But 49% of our 4th graders are not up to reading level.
Why?
So there are so many incredible factors that influence why this is the case. 18% of our citizens don't have a high school diploma or GED, and 19% of adults lack basic literacy skills. So that's the kind of thing that we're going to be discussing at our State of Literacy Symposium next week.
That's scary. That's scary. And
Absolutely.
Is it true that the 4th graders who do have these issues may not do well later in life?
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely a systemic problem where if you're behind in the 4th grade, then there's certainly a large probability that you'll never be able to catch up.
Yeah, that's scary, Nina. And you look at the brains, and you're a neurobiologist, so you know what's going on in there. Why and how do we turn this around, or can we?
Well, we can really measure the brain's response to sound. It turns out that how your brain responds to all of the rich ingredients and sounds that make up the letters that the kids read is really important for their literacy skills. And we can deliver all kinds of sounds to the ear and put sensors on the head and measure, you know, as I'm talking to you now, the nerves in your brain that respond to sound give off electricity. And we can measure.
Crazy.
Yeah, we can measure that electricity, but we can see in a 3-year-old, we can get insight into his language ability, which is, you know, these are his pre-literacy skills.
So it kind of depends on what sound's going in.
That's right.
As to what's coming out. Could our how are our communities influenced by this? You know, we're talking a lot about violence, a lot of things that are going on, and they're young kids in these environments. Is that affecting their reading, their literacy?
Very much so. For example, language skills are the precursors for literacy. And so children need to be read to, they need to be talked to, they need to be engaged verbally. And verbal stimulation and auditory stimulation of all kinds. It turns out that playing a musical instrument and speaking another language, all of these are enrichments to the auditory brain, which then impact a child's ability to read.
And you need the positive inhibitors to come in, first of all, because we have so many negatives. Do you see that through the Alliance that there's a way to turn it around?
Absolutely. So at the Chicago Literacy Alliance, we work with 67 different organizations across the city that are trying to provide literacy services in a number of different capacities. They're working with adults to help them with their literacy skills, which will then ultimately influence their own children and their ability to read moving forward. We work with schools, we work with educators that go into schools, after-school programs, et cetera. And we're trying to build important and strategic collaboration between them so that we can all move toward a more literate Chicago.
Nina wanted to jump in. I got 30 seconds.
What is really important is to be able to predict ahead of time, to predict at 3-4 years of age, which child is going to struggle to read. And so now we're in a position to do that biologically. We can measure the child's response to
those who need help, you can give to them.
Language and then target the intervention to the kids who need it most.
And I want to mention your symposium on the 19th.
Absolutely. The State of Literacy Symposium is happening on Thursday, November 19th at the Litera Center, which is at 641 West Lake. And we welcome all who want to come and join the conversation.
And Nina's, you're going to present a lot of stuff there. People will see.
Oh, yes.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it to both of you. For more information on the symposium, visit ChicagoLiteracyAlliance.org.